Villisca, Iowa, 1912. On the night of June 9, 1912, the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, experienced a horror that would haunt it for over a century. The Moore family, Josiah, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children, were returning from a church event. They invited 2 neighbor girls, Lena and Ina Stillinger, to spend the night. The next morning, a concerned neighbor found the house eerily silent. She alerted the police, and upon entering, they discovered a gruesome scene. All 8 occupants had been bludgeoned to death with an axe. The murderer had covered the victims' faces with cloth, and mirrors throughout the house were draped with towels, as if the killer couldn't bear to look at the aftermath. Despite multiple suspects and theories, the case remains unsolved. Visitors to the home-turned-museum report hearing children's laughter, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling cold spots in rooms where the murders took place. Some claim to have heard footsteps echoing down the hallways late at night, footsteps belonging to a killer who never left. 2. The death of Elisa Lam, Los Angeles, California, 2013. The Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles has a dark history, but it was the mysterious death of Elisa Lam that solidified its infamy. Elisa, a 21-year-old Canadian student, was traveling alone and staying at the hotel. On January 31st, 2013, she vanished. Her disappearance puzzled police until elevator surveillance footage was released to the public. In the footage, Elisa appeared disoriented, as if talking to someone unseen. She peered out of the elevator, darted back in, pressed multiple buttons, and gestured frantically. It was as if she was being followed by something invisible. Weeks later, after guests complained of foul-tasting water, maintenance workers found Elisa's body in a rooftop water tank. The lid was heavy and difficult to open, making it unclear how she got inside. There were no signs of trauma or foul play. The official cause was accidental drowning, but theories abound. Was she being chased by a malevolent force? Some believe she was a victim of the hotel's dark energy, which had already been linked to suicides and murders over the years. 3. The Curse of the Bell Witch Adams, Tennessee, 1817 to 1821. In the early 1800s, the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, experienced a haunting so severe it became one of the most documented cases in American folklore. It began with strange noises, knocking on walls and furniture moving on its own. The family patriarch, John Bell, was targeted by an invisible force that physically attacked him. The entity, known as the Bell Witch, spoke to the family and visitors alike, its voice ranging from a whisper to a deafening roar. It reportedly had a vendetta against John Bell, tormenting him until his death in 1820. Local legend says the spirit poisoned him, marking one of the few instances where a supernatural entity was credited with causing a human death. To this day, the Bell Witch Cave near the family's former property is said to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors report hearing whispers, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling an overwhelming sense of dread as they explore the dark, narrow passages where the spirit supposedly resides. 4. The Amityville Horror, Amityville, New York, 1974. In the suburban neighborhood of Amityville, a chilling crime shocked the nation. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered his parents and 4 siblings in their sleep. He claimed that voices in his head commanded him to kill. A year later, the Lutz family moved into the same house at 112 Ocean Avenue. From the moment they arrived, they were plagued by bizarre occurrences. George Lutz would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every night, the exact time of the murders. The family experienced cold spots, foul odors, and green slime oozing from the walls. Kathy Lutz reported seeing demonic faces in the fireplace, and their young daughter befriended an imaginary entity she called Jody, a pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. The final straw came when George found himself possessed, compelled to harm his family. After just 28 days, the Lutz family fled the house, leaving all their belongings behind. The events were later immortalized in the book and film The Amityville Horror, though skeptics question the authenticity of the Lutz's claims. Still, the house remains a symbol of pure terror, and visitors claim to feel an oppressive energy surrounding the property. 5. The Stanley Hotel, inspiration for the Shining Estes Park, Colorado, 1970s to present. In the 1970s, Stephen King and his wife spent a night at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. They were the only guests in the massive, isolated building. King wandered the empty halls and envisioned the story that would become The Shining. But long before King's visit, the Stanley Hotel was already considered haunted. Guests and staff report seeing the ghost of a former housekeeper in or